Why is door-to-door sales blowing up? We've seen a 30 to 50% drop in actual leads converted from the same dollars spent from just 12 months ago. What's happening here is we can't get jobs, so why don't we go knock? We're making more money than we would have ever expected. Why 2024 is one of the best times to be getting in door-to-door sales. What's up guys, Sam Taggart here with D2D Experts, and we help companies scale their sales, recruiting, and blow them up. So you can just work the same effort with greater results. And in this video, we're gonna dive into why is door-to-door sales blowing up? And at the end, I'm gonna give you the biggest reason. And the reason I say this is because so many people are flocking to door-to-door. When I got in 2008, that was one of the other epicenters of explosion. So if we just wanna think of the genealogy tree of door-to-door, actually early 90s is when it was invented. So if you think of where did real door-to-door is back with Southwestern books. So let's go through the tree, and then I'm gonna walk you through why 2024 is one of the best times to be getting in door-to-door sales. So you think you had Kirby vacuums, you had Southwestern books, really early, late 1800s was Southwestern, then Kirby comes along, and then come 1990s, there was all of a sudden Pest Control. So what's interesting is Kirby vacuum is still around thriving. Books kind of got innovated, but they still have 1,200 sales reps. Pest Control is the best it's ever been. And you're like, well, how is it better than maybe the 90s? The average contract value back then was 190 to 300 bucks, okay? Today, the average, there's some companies that are charging $1,200 on average for the contract value. Well, if you're paid on a percentage basis, these guys are making what I used to make in alarms on every deal, when before they were saying you could sell 3 pest control to 1 alarm. So now, okay, the 90s hit, they launched pest control. Let's back this up a little bit. Now you come in and the guys like Todd Peterson, the Pinnacles, the Vivint's of the world come in the early 90s, so we'll call this 92, 93, they start in the alarm game, right? So you're like, okay, cool, we got alarms. Now come in, that goes for a good run. Satellite kicks in, probably mid 90s, so we'll call it, or 2000s, okay? So we'll say 2000s, satellite, DirecTV, Dish, Network, AT&T, that kind of wave hits. Then all of a sudden streaming kicks at their ass and says we're innovating. So then you kind of say, okay, what are these industries doing? Let me explain why 2024 is going to be your best year. So now all of a sudden come 2012 really is when this whole solar boom comes along. So you're like, okay, solar, when did that really start? So I actually got in 2015, and I felt like I was old. I was like, man, I missed it. I missed the solar wave. Wow, little did I know. On average, my reps were making $250 a kilowatt when solar started. We were charging more than what you're charging today. So you're like, wait a minute, now guys are making 5 to 10 times that, and you're like, what? On an average per deal commission. So then what's happening, and this is interesting, so roofing, so 2018, so roofing has been around a long time. There's companies that's thriving. 2018, I started into the roofing consulting game. So let me just give you a backstory here. That's when Door-to-Door launched. I didn't even know roofing was a thing. And I started seeing guys making $1 million to $5 million in roofing. And these guys are less competent than the people I'm normally used to working with. So now over the last year or two, I've seen a lot of clients diving into the roofing, home improvement game. I have clients now doing turf, HVAC, I'm speaking at a conference next week, and you're like, okay, what about all these other industries? I just had a painting company come, a contracting company, a home improvement company out of this, and I'm like, why are these random industries really starting to sophisticate themselves in door-to-door sales today? Just got off a call with a group in Canada that coaches over 400 contractors, and they're like, my people need your thing. I'm speaking to HVAC guys next week in Dallas, and they're like, wow, I was the greatest, most voted speaker in last year's conference, because none of them were talking about door-to-door sales. They're all talking about private equity and marketing and this and this and this. So watch this. Private equity put money in the HVAC industry for the last about 6 years. So every private equity wanted we'll call this them on their platform. They said, hey, we're gonna give you between a 13 and a 19 multiple on EBITDA. And so earning before taxes and interest, okay? So if we said, okay, let's look at this and where the money's going and why door-to-door sales is gonna get really sexy, especially from running a company, okay? So roofing, so we'll call this most good HVAC companies, these guys are in the 7th to 8th inning, we'll call this. So like, when I say inning, I mean like, think of a baseball game. Roofing, we're now in, call it the 2nd to 3rd inning. So two or three of my groups that I consulted about 4 or 5 years ago, those guys have now been private equity acquisitions, and now they're a platform gobbling up little guys looking for certain people to add to their platform. So we're talking like big billion-dollar money, right? Well then solar, if you really look at it and you're like, there's been very little acquisitions because it's such an infant market. But over the last 12 months, people are like, okay, let's actually start paying attention to this. So I'd call this, we're in the 1st inning. But here's what's crazy. Pest Control, before, the people that really waved the acquisition model were the Terminex and the Orkins, okay? Well now you're having people like one of my clients from 5 years ago, they were, they scaled in Texas, they had like a little mini acquisition, but not private equity. Private equity said, let's go compete with buying these long-term contracts on the pest control game. So now you're like, okay, we are in the early innings that you're seeing from a private equity firm and big money coming in saying, we want to get into door-to-door. You're like, well, I'm in sales, I'm a rep, I'm a whatever. Well, how does this apply to me? Let me explain. So now that you're like, okay, these guys are buying, looking for growth. If I inject, so Vivint went through this in the alarm game and we saw multiple transactions with Golden Gate, Blackstone, and Goldman & Sachs. So 3 different groups bought Vivint, selling for multiples of billions of dollars for a door-to-door sales company. And you're like, how do they do that? How do I participate as a sales rep, a manager, an owner? How does this benefit me? Well, here's what's happening economically. So let's just take the global economics. Here's the world. And you're like, okay, 2020, what happens? COVID hits. It was like they were paying you to keep your job. Stimulus now is over. 2024, what happens? The government is not stimulating all the jobs, and so unemployment goes up. Does that make sense? So in 2008, what happened? 2008. Why was that a huge boom in door-to-door sales? And some of the greatest leaders all came from 2006, 7, and 8. The market crashed in real estate. So all the good mortgage guys, the insurance guys, the real estate guys, they all said, we can't get jobs, so might as well go knock. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna go knock. What's happening here is we can't get jobs, so why don't we go knock? Because economy is softening up. So meaning smarter people that maybe were getting normal job at 150 grand here, they're like, okay, I'll try doors. Good dudes come into doors. Then they say, cool, we're making more money than we would have ever expected because they never would have given door-to-door any 2 cents to even try. So now they're like, cool, we're making more money, so why don't we do this right? So I just helped this big network marketing group get into roofing. I just helped this other big mortgage group, and they did 450 solar sales their first month leaving the mortgage group. Same shit's happening, bringing this up. Now what's gonna happen? You go scale, knowing we're in the 1st to 3rd inning in roofing, pest, alarms, and solar. You go scale for the next 3 to 5 years, and they're giving like 10 to 15 multiples on some of these companies because they're all competing. Private equity guys all have an ego. So they're all competing to say who's got the best guy on the platform. They're like, you bought a company, I'm gonna go buy a company, right? Like, so they're playing this game. So now you're like, geez, they're giving stupid multiples for these sales or these home improvement companies. And now you get a 3 to 5 year runway to go build a massive army and build some real logistics. And this is when you're hitting them in the 4th to 7th inning. You don't want them in the 9th inning because it's like too late. You hit them in a sweet spot when you've gotten this like real money coming into the market and you're getting the biggest payouts. So you're like, cool, I'm a rep, great. I promise you're not gonna always be a rep. You're gonna be a manager, you're gonna be a leader, you're gonna negotiate equity, you're gonna get a distribution, something. Then you're gonna get more resources dumped into it. It's also gonna get more competitive. Because now they're buying, so if I'm a normal private equity company, and let's just say I'm gonna buy this roofing company, okay? So I'm gonna buy this private equity, and I'm gonna say, cool, I'm buying roof, great. What's gonna happen is the only way they know how to scale dollars is to put more dollars into what? marketing. So if I only know how to put more dollars into ad spend, what's gonna get really competitive? And this is the secret that I was holding at the end. So this is why I was like, why is right now the best thing to get into door-to-door? Is because when all the expensive money gets into home improvement, they go put all their money into marketing. So for the little guy that's doing, let's say 5 million, competing against this $1 billion private equity group, who do you think has more money to waste, more time, more marketing experience, more like craft at this? They have more to lose. You don't have as much margin doing 5 million to say, let me go get my Facebook ads. So what's happened to the marketplace is you're seeing somebody that spent $2K a month on ads and they would get, let's say 100 leads. They're spending $2K and now they're getting 50 leads. We've seen a 30 to 50% drop in actual leads converted from the same dollar spent from just 12 months ago. So if that's the case, but why I believe is economically and also because smart money's coming into it. So they're saturating the marketplace. The real question is how do I just say, F the marketing spend, I've got tons of people that know how to go get my cost of acquisition, not terrible. Also go create a marketing vertical or some creative biz dev like relationship verticals. But I'm saying this doesn't go, you don't get bleeded out and have 50% higher cost to go create the same amount of accounts. So in short, after consulting hundreds of companies and speaking in different industries and different markets and things like that, there goes my pen. What I would say is you're going to see a lot of door-to-door shifts in the next few years. You're going to see a lot of companies that get squeezed, pinched out, acquired, and you're going to see some consolidation because people are driving the margins so low that they just need to build efficiencies through consolidating. And it's a fun time to be participating in a lot of that if you know what you're doing. So D2D Experts, we're obviously coaches, consultants. We have our ear to the ground. We work with a lot of different industries. Click the link down below if you want to schedule a call with one of us. Just get on the phone with one of our experts and talk through maybe we should add door-to-door to our vertical. Maybe we should consider door-to-door sales as a viable piece because the way that our marketing direction's going isn't functioning and it's getting really expensive. Because I believe everybody has this natural need for connection and I don't think that's ever going away. Hence why Southwestern Books still has 1,200 sales reps. Hence why Kirby Vacuum still has thousands of sales reps. Hence why Cutco Knives has existed forever and has thousands of people still selling it. It's not going anywhere. So appreciate you guys' time. Hit the subscribe button and we'll see you guys on the next video.